everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to the Foundry. My name is Johnny Boy, and here with Slykiko and GraveDiggerGriffin. Today, we're giving you that Fallout review. Welcome to episode 1, The End. Gentlemen, this is quite the impressive show, which most of the time when it's a video game adaptation, we don't really get to say that, but this has really impressed me. I'm only very early on in the series so far. Was there 8 episodes, I think, total? Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. How do you guys feel about it so far?
I'm digging it. I'm pretty fond of it.
It's really good. I think they play the West Coast appeal and all that very well.
Yeah, I'm really big into it. As for Fallout knowledge, I have played 3, New Vegas 4, and 76. And Kylo, I know that's the same for you. Have you dabbled in the first 2 at all?
I've seen full content playthroughs of the first 2.
What about tactics?
No.
No, me either, man. What about you, Sly?
I've only really, in terms of lore, 76, and that's kind of what I'm happy about. 76 has no lore, so I get to just soak up this show, and I can't look for plot holes because I don't know of any. So I'm happy about it.
That's a good point, too, because you'd be like, that's not how it happened in this video game kind of thing.
Exactly, because I've already heard on Twitter some people are comparing things, but I'm like, this is whooshing right by me, so I could care less.
Yeah. It's crazy me thinking about watching this, and I'm like, man, for someone who has no idea, from any of this Fallout, this is so much stuff being thrown at you and so much brand new, and I think it does such a cool... This show does such a fucking great job imitating how Fallout feels, to where it's over-the-top parody of the end of the world in the apocalypse, and it's just that it feels so natural, in the vault area, and I love how they introduce all 3 characters in the first episode. It's just so different, ends of the spectrum of the ghoul, the vault dweller, and the brotherhood. I really like that. I thought that was a really interesting thing to do. I don't really know why the Brotherhood of Steel type of thing. I don't really know about that one, because it's not, I don't know, with the ghoul, it could be in the middle. The Vault Dweller, it could be in the middle, but the Brotherhood, that's an established faction with their own morals and their own agenda kind of thing like that, so that's interesting how they did that. As for our 3 main characters, I love the Dweller, love the ghoul. As far as for this first episode, I fucking hate Maxis. Is that his name?
Maximus. Ditto.
Maximus.
Ditto. Can't stand him.
He's quite unlikable. I really do not like him.
Can't stand him.
Dude, the gore for this show is absolutely fucking awesome.
10 out of 10. I'm pleased.
Yes, I'm so happy with the gore in the show as well. Really, really big fan of it. What'd you guys think of the vault? Everyone happy-go-lucky and everything, cousin stuff. Sly be loving that Wincest.
For real. I'm not gonna lie. It feels like one of those too good to be true things. It just feels off-putting how maybe it's just Lucy. That's her name, right?
Yes. Well, it feels like a 50s TV show, right? Leave It to Beaver.
Yes.
That's exactly. Yes. I mean, that's how exactly...
And her character really feels like that, too.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly the feeling you get while playing Fallout 3, when that, is the beginning of, where you start out, in a vault, and everyone is so blind and naive to the wasteland of the apocalypse outside of the world. You know, it's we stand up for what's right, for capitalism, for America. You know, we know right from wrong. It's just everyone's got strong morals on how to live their life. You got to do the right thing. You know, it's that community. You know, kind of how the thing it's us versus them type of thing against communism, in the 50s. And Fallout is just a show and a video game of it's the future of the 50s, you know? That's what it pretty much is.
As
it's
a society,
that on crack.
They didn't really change. They just, the environment changed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they got flying cars and technology and stuff like that, but it still all had that 50s edge to it. I really love that. That's one thing I've loved about Fallout. I love the Cold War era type of thing anyways, you know, with because what happened was war broke out between the Chinese and America. Really cool thing how they mentioned Anchorage. Kyle, did you get that in the very intro? Pre-war.
Yeah.
Yeah, the birthday party. There was a news anchor talking about Anchorage, Alaska, which is a Fallout 3 DLC where you play a soldier and Anchorage, Alaska, against the Chinese, like pre-war era type of thing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a neat reference in the beginning. I thought it was funny too how the reporter was like, "Am I even like wanting to do this if there's not going to be like a next week? Like, what's the point?"
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that was rough. That was like, ooh.
Yeah. The whole part with Walton Goggins, like at the birthday party with his daughter, was very sad, and it was like kind of
I thought the mass
very
panic
serious.
and everything was really cool.
Mhm.
Like,
I agree.
especially seeing like the dude like rush to his bunker and like the one other
Exactly.
neighbor or whatever trying to get
Immediate
in.
becomes
Like,
immediately is a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's like, "Fuck you." I mean, it's like, yeah, put your family first, dude. Like, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like, I agree on that 100%. He's like, "Come on, man, let me in." He's like, "Fuck you, man."
These bunkers end up becoming like Adam and Eve little hotspots though at the end, which we kind of see at the modern day. It's like, cool, we're at a point where like cousins have to potentially start fucking to keep reproducing because everyone down there eventually the gene pool is just irreparably, it's the same.
Yeah, not that like the tiny little bunkers, because not everyone had a vault bunker to go to. So,
That's true.
Vault Tech was something pre-war. It was a big corporation that did experiments, that issued like technology and sold that kind of stuff, and they linked up with other major corporations like to license products, kind of thing like that. Like everything's big corporation. They're all linked together, like that. So like they would. Vault-Tec would like gear up with different, like do different shady deals with other people. Like there's one you find out in different Fallout stuff. They linked up with the school, right? And Vault-Tec was supplying this school with this different type of food, and they wanted the the school to experiment on the students for them.
Jesus.
Like they're like, hey, will you like do this experiment for us if you get paid? That's what kind of shit this Vault-Tec does, They had issued all these vaults, and like in the issue of like the world ending, we'll have all these experiments. Well, like this will be subject A and subject B type of thing like that. And they had this for all many different vaults. Yes, controlled variables. Thank you, Kyler. That is like the perfect word for it. It's really interesting because you get to see all these different vaults, and the reason they're so different is because they did different experiments in every single different vault, And that's like the thing. There's vaults where there weren't even like actually walking around. They're like stuck in a virtual reality as well, and you can see the outside of the vault, and like 3/4 of them are all dead, and there's just like these people are withering away just in a virtual reality type of thing like that. There's so many different unique vaults out there that not all of them are just like you are just living in a community. There's another vault where it's literally all clones of one person. There's another vault where it's all these famous, disgusting, like Hollywood actors that were in the vault, and then they got old. Then they decided to move their brains into robots, and they're all just robots walking around in this vault who are like fucking disgustingly rich actors and shit like that. Like they mentioned later in the show, like vaults are just for rich assholes. That's exactly what it is. Like it's for military personnel, like ex-military personnel. Like you had to get invited to a vault type of thing. That's like the big thing about like Fallout 4. If someone comes to your house, they're like, "Hey, you want to try joining for a vault for the like in case in the future?" And you go, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And then like 10 minutes later, it's like it comes in handy, and you're allowed to actually go to the vault. And other people are literally denied it. And one of the cool things about like Fallout 3, when you exit the vault, like you see like signs outside, and there's just like so many dead bodies, like of skeletons that have been there for like tens and maybe hundreds of years, even like maybe 100 years or something like that, of people that trying to get into a vault and begging for help and shit. Because there's just it's very sad because you go out there and there's just like there's a sign on there. It's like, "You fuckers let us in, like you let us out here to die," type of thing like that. Like better you than me, like kind of situation. It's really awful, and it's like it's really daunting, and it's a very scary thing. Yeah,
it feeds into the apocalyptic aspect like very well though.
Yeah, but like it's so weird because the contrast is like happy-go-lucky Lucy, like we're just living our best life, and you go outside, there's no food, there's no water, there's people dying every day, there's these horrors that people live with every single fucking day, and it's just such an interesting contrast of how they make it so go-lucky and fun.
That's really the biggest thing I'm excited for about her is, especially because like from what I know about Fallout, she seems like the perfect blend of like the Fallout boy or Fallout girl because she's so happy-go-lucky and naive,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
she's convinced. And I'm sure when she goes out there, she's gonna get her shit rocked.
Yeah.
And I want to see how the wasteland changes her, because ain't no way you're gonna make it out of that alive unless you die the same person.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what the show's gonna be like. I love the first episode. It was really cool to see how different each main character's story was. You know, like the end, you saw the ghoul being like resurrected out of the hole and stuff like that, and you saw like just like ridiculously like poor redneck like survivors kind of guys like that who were bounty hunters and stuff, who like they seem like old like cowpoke type of shit. And then you see the Brotherhood of Steel with these giant armors and this religious like cult like experience that they're exposing themselves to. And it's just the difference between everything is really cool. I love the contrast between all of those. It's cool. What was your guys' favorite part? Do you guys have a favorite part at all?
Ooh. Honestly, when shit hit the fan, I loved seeing the double cross, because everything there was kind of like telltale signs.
Oh yeah,
at the very
whenever
beginning.
he got in bed and he took his clothes off, I'm like,
That
this
was the
this mo-
biggest giveaway. I was like,
That's
look at his
exactly what I
background.
said. I'm like, this motherfucker's a raider.
Absolutely. I was like, look at, for starters, like just the way that they were acting, all the glares, and then also like at the table, the discussion, like there were just too many things that were like, this doesn't seem like two vault, like people, like two, like, I guess I can't call them species, but just two tribes essentially coming together and
That are
greeting
obsessed
one.
with community.
Absolutely. I was like, that is not the case. They are not vibing. And then, yeah, when he took off his shirt, I was like, this dude's been through some shit. There's no way he, got torn up like by a cheese grater in a vault.
I loved how she threw the Geiger counter on him and he was just like spitting rads. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And she's like, you're from the surface. I was like, shit. I was so excited for that. I love how they go through like the different, like her different skills and stuff like that. I love her as a main character. She's so fun. She's such a fun main character. Kyler, what do you think about Lucy, the Vault Dweller?
I think she's really cool. Although my favorite scene was probably when the little brother was going to 32, and like you see like all of it just like dead and like fucking
Yep.
yeah, just like dead, lights
All the
off.
all the
nothing
crops were
there.
dead and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's been gone a while, and like the whole time I'm personally wondering like what's the control for this vault, like the variable and shit like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna ask, like, when they were leaving that towards the end,
Mm-hmm.
how he looked over the edge, and it looked like different exits. Were those like different vaults, just like stacked on each other?
To my knowledge, there were 3.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, so there's like 3 in 1.
Interesting. And so I guess there's maybe what, a 31 or a 34 maybe then?
31, 32, 33?
Yeah. Yeah, probably because they're the stack one on top. Okay.
Hmm.
Interesting. I highly recommend you play Fallout 3, Sly. I think you really should, because I feel like that's going to help. Not even help. I think you'll enjoy so much more of the show with some background knowledge. And anyone that is getting into Fallout because of this show, I highly recommend you play some of the single player solo story of those 3 3D more popular games, Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4.
Right.
I would steer clear of Fallout 76. It's a buggy piece of shit. It might be a lot different over the years, but I still think that it is overall a piss poor experience for a Fallout experience. I mean,
I agree.
I feel like you may be able to capture what's going on outside with the, how do I put it? The apocalypse, I guess, or the capital, or the wasteland, But I mean, like, that's one of the coolest thing I enjoy about Fallout 76. It had cool creature design, and that's about it. That is about it. Is there any enemy, I guess, that you're excited about to see in the future, Kyler, of the show?
I
really want to see super mutants. I want to see what they look like.
I've been thinking about that same thing.
It'd be cool if they
I
had.
guess like a Deathclaw. It'd be interesting to see how they portray that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, personally, I would love to see a fucking Cazador, like a group of those things. Those things are
Ooh.
fucking terrifying.
Yes, Cazador would be fucking sweet. Yeah, that's gonna be our review for episode 1. This was a really fun episode. It gave a lot of potential to look forward to as well. I feel like it set up the show perfectly. It kind of reminded me a lot of how I felt about Loki episode 1 for the second season, where it just got my expectations so fucking high, and that's how I feel about this episode. So I'm gonna give it a fucking 9.5, dude, for this first episode.
Good.
I'll have to agree. Yeah, 9.5.
You know what? I can't complain too much. Maximus bummed me out with,
You're right,
the
yeah.
whole thing. But I'll give it an
Lucy,
8.5. I'm excited to see what it has in the future. But it was still a great episode. Really set up really well.
Cool. So we'll just call this 9 stars then for this episode of Fallout. And we'll be getting back to you guys for episode 2 very shortly. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave some support for the Sluggos. We'll see you later on the next Foundry video. Bye, guys.
Bye.